My name is Okechukwu Joshua Otazi, and today we are going to be talking about the VLOOKUP function that is available here in Excel. Alright, so friends, if you look at Excel, basically we have lots of functions. I'll just come over to the formula bar. As I click on the formula bar over here, friends, the formula tab over here. Now, friends, you can see we have what is called lookup and references. If I just click on this drop down over here, as you can see, we have lots of functions that are available in the lookup drop down. Alright, so friends, these all functions can help you look up a particular value in your entire spreadsheet. The spreadsheet can be very much large. We can have data spanning thousands of rows and columns. Alright, so friends, sometimes the VLOOKUP and the lookup and reference functions will help us to reference or extract the value that matches a particular value we are looking up for. Alright, so friends, at this juncture right now, if I just hover on one of the functions, any of them, I just come over to VLOOKUP. Now you can see there is a particular call out box that Excel brings out, telling us what this function does. Right, as you can see over here in the VLOOKUP, we have Excel telling us that if we want to use the VLOOKUP function, the first thing we have to do is to put in the lookup value. Then we have to put in the table array, then the column index number, then the range lookup. Alright, so friends, in the VLOOKUP, Excel is still telling us more about it. It's telling us that what the VLOOKUP does is that it looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table, and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. Then by default, the table must be sorted in an ascending order. Alright, so Excel is basically telling us basically how the VLOOKUP functions. You can click on the Tell Me More to get more information about how the VLOOKUP works here in Excel. Alright, so friends, without wasting much of your time, I would like to delve into the VLOOKUP. We've seen how the VLOOKUP works. Alright, so what we saw was that in specifying the VLOOKUP formula, the first thing was that we need to find the lookup value, and we have the lookup value, then the table array, then the column index, and then the range lookup. Now, friends, what I'm going to do right now is to use what is called the named ranges. Alright, you don't really have to do this, but I'm going to teach. Since we've already learned how to use the named ranges, we are going to be using the named ranges subsequently, just to show you how the named ranges or name ranges actually can apply in VLOOKUPs. Alright, so friends, I'm going to just highlight this entire table. Alright, and then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to come over to the name manager and then click on new. Alright, so at this juncture, I'm going to call the name of this entire data set dataset. Alright, so that's what I'm going to basically call it, and then I'm going to click on OK. Now I've created a new named range. Now I'm going to be using this named range subsequently in our data set. Alright, so friends, the first thing I'm going to do right now in using the VLOOKUP is I'm going to double tap on this particular cell over here, the first cell, and with my cursor blinking over there, I'm going to click on equal to, then write VLOOKUP. Then I'm going to open my bracket. Right, so the first thing I need to do is put in the lookup value. So what is my lookup value? My lookup value is this particular number over here. All right, so I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to click on a comma sign, included the comma sign. Then my table array, I can just go ahead and highlight this entire table we did over here. But I've given it a named range, so I don't need to highlight it again. I just call the name, and it's called data set. Now Excel pops out what the named range has been saved. All right, so I'm just going to double tap into it, and then automatically this whole data set gets highlighted, and that's the power of named ranges. Or I could have done this manually by just highlighting it, and then it will work the same way. But basically, friends, I just love to use the named range, don't mind me. All right, so I'm going to put in comma sign, and then the next thing we have to do right now is to specify the column index number. All right, so now a distributor's name over here, where does it appear? Because if you're telling Excel, if you don't specify the column index number, now what you specified was an entire data set, and associated with this particular distributor's ID are several other values. All right, so what do we want it to look for? Do we want it to look for a particular value that is associated with this particular lookup value in this column? I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but then this is the value we are trying to look up for. Now, associated with this value, we have different other columns. All right, not just one column. So what column are we trying to look up for? So what I want is this particular column. So I'm going to call it distributor's name. All right, so I'm going to call it the second column. This is the first column, and this is the second column. And so I'm going to call it column 2. All right, so I'm going to type in the number 2, telling Excel, give me the value, look for the values in this exact column. Don't look for it in the entire table. Look for it in this exact column. All right, so in column 2, look for 23303, and then give me the distributor's name that is associated with that number. All right, so that's what I'm telling Excel to do. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is put a comma sign. All right, am I trying to look for a false or exact match or an approximate match, that is true or false. All right, so if it's an exact match, we have false. All right, so I'm going to double tap into this section where I see false because I'm looking for an exact match. I'm going to just close the bracket right now, and I'm going to click on enter. All right, right now, friends, you can see that we have a distributor's name that is associated with this particular number. All right, so if I look at this number right now, you can see the distributor's name associated with that number has been extrapolated. All right, so what we want to do right now is we can just drag this down, come to the bottom right, you see a cross sign, left click and drag down to the end, and then all the other distributors' name are going to get filled in our data set. You can cross check this, and then you find out that we are exactly right with what we did. For example, this particular number over here where we have Brittany Buris. All right, you can see that this is the number over here and this is the name over here. And so Excel was right, and Excel was able to give us the names that are associated with the different distributors ID. So how do we do this for sales channels? I'm going to double tap into this cell. All right, I'm going to click on equals to and say VLOOKUP. All right, so I'm going to just open my bracket. All right, so what value am I trying to look for? This same thing. We're just replicating what we've done earlier. All right, so look for this value, put a comma sign. My table array is going to be the data set I've already named. And so I'm going to say data set, and then it automatically highlights it, put a comma sign, what column index number. Sales channel exists in what column? This is the first column, this is the second column, this is the third column, this is the fourth column, fifth column, sixth column. So I'm going to give it a number 6, right? And then I'm going to put a comma sign, then tell it to look for an exact match. Subsequently, in our subsequent video, I'm going to show you the difference between the exact and then the approximate match. And I'm going to click on enter. All right, right now I'm going to come to the bottom right where I see a cross sign, and I'm going to drag down to the end. And now you can see that the entire data set over here is retail. So I'm not expecting anything different. So I'm sorry for that. But then we have retail sales channels for all of them. All right, so friends, the next thing I'm going to do right now is for revenue. I'm going to do the same thing, equals to VLOOKUP, basically the same thing. All right, and then I'm going to open my bracket, the lookup value, put a comma sign, table array, data set. All right, put a comma sign, column number. I believe that should be this is the first column, second column, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th column. All right, so that's the 11th column. So I'm going to say number 11. All right, then I'm going to leave it at false. Close my bracket, click on enter. All right, so the first amount pops up, which is 2552, telling me I'm very much correct. So I'm just going to come to the bottom right, left click and drag to the end. All right, so friends, these are the values. I can format this as currency by highlighting them, come to home tab, come to where I see general. I can just click on this, or I can come over here and then click on currency. All right, so friends, right now, as you can see, we've been able to use the VLOOKUP function to look for a specific set of data set or a subset of our data, all right, in our entire table. All right, so what we did was look for the name, the sales channels, and then also the revenue that we associated with this selected distributor's ID. All right, friends, without wasting much of your time, I'd like you to delve into your worksheet and practice what you've learned. Thank you.